Hello everyone, you are very welcome to our British Sign Language class this morning. My name is Anthony and I'm your tutor, and we have a female interpreter with us today as always, translating between BSL and English. So you're very welcome to our class. Hopefully everyone is doing well. If it's your first time joining us, you can see two of us on the screen. So me, Anthony, I'm your BSL tutor. As I said, I'm going to be teaching you BSL. And the interpreter is for the benefit of VoiceOver, for making it accessible for everyone to listen in English as well. And if you're one of our regulars, it's great to see you too. Hopefully you had a really good week. I feel like it's a very fast week, Friday already. Monday, we always start the week going, oh, here's another week. And then before we know it, we're at Friday and it's the last day of the week, or the working week. And we're all excited for the weekend. Any interesting plans for the weekend from anyone? Let me hear about it. I don't really have anything planned much for the weekend. Last week, actually, I was in Madrid for a paddle competition. Maybe you've never heard of the sport of paddle. It's quite new for the UK, but not so new for Spain and Europe. It's a little bit like tennis. It's a sort of a mixture between tennis and squash, and it has partitions around the outside. It has a net similar to tennis. If you want to Google it to see what paddle is, you'll find lots of information there. It's a very, very popular sport and growing. So I went to Madrid for a European Deaf Championship. It was great to see everyone, catch up with everyone again, had a lovely time. Meeting people from lots of different countries, lots of competitions, quite tough matches. I would say there were probably about 100 deaf people at the event, so it was fabulous to see everybody. So this weekend, it's just home time with family. So the plan for today's session is we're going to look at how we describe a person in BSL. We have covered this before on previous sessions. And I have also mentioned what we've covered on previous sessions, but also, as I always say every week, if there's anything specific you would like to know relating to anything you're involved in, please use the comments box. We can tailor things to whatever people want to learn. But today we're going to talk about how to describe a person in BSL. And if we have time, we will also describe your pets, dogs, cats, all those kind of household pets. Hello, we've got Jenks. Good to have you. I'm just looking at the comments here to see who's joining. So if it's your first time joining us, just a little bit about what we do every week. So I've been doing this really since COVID every year. So we're now sort of in our fourth year teaching BSL to anyone watching every fortnight. What I usually do at the start of the academic year, September, I start with basic learning, like the alphabet, greetings, and then we progress on to family signs. And then we teach every 2 weeks. And then by the time we get to June, the end of the academic year, we stop for a break over the summer. We don't have any BSL classes over July and August. And then we start in September again for another academic year. So here we are already at March. We've been continuing since September. So that just gives you an idea if it's your first time and you're not quite sure what we're doing. If you do want to go back and look at what we've done from September, we can go back on Facebook or YouTube, go back and click on the sessions and you will find them all there, which you can catch up on. Hope that makes sense to everyone. Okay, so let's start to describe a person in BSL. So here we have a sign for person, person, person. And description or describing, describing. Hi, Kellyanne. Morning. Welcome as always. Yes, Kellyanne's been with us since 2022 and loves learning BSL. It's always lovely to hear. So that's a sign for person. So man, man, and woman, woman, and boy, boy, and girl. So you can see that woman and girl are the same sign but just with a different lip pattern. So that's girl. And old, old, and young. So that's really the sign, or the letter Y. So young, young. Okay, so let's repeat these signs. First time, and we'll do it with the voiceover, and second and third time just on your own. Person, describe, man, woman, boy, girl, old, and young. Okay, so let's concentrate on height and size. Deaf people are very visual, so we like to describe in that way. Tall, sometimes in different regions of the UK, you might see it signed like this, tall. Just if it's your first time, you might not understand what I mean by regional signs, but it's very similar to accents. So in Northern Ireland, in England, Scotland, and Wales, we all do use British Sign Language, but there are slight variations and differences depending on which region you're from. So, for example, if a person from Scotland or England or Wales comes and talks to me, I won't know where they're from. But if they sign to me, then I can decipher which area of the UK they're from, depending on their signs. And these originate from the community. How signs have just originated in local communities. So that's why sign language is a beautiful, rich language because it has so many variations. So we're going to use this sign primarily for tall, tall, and short, short. Average, average height, average. And now size. So that's thin, 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 and slim. So 2 fingers making the sign for slim, slim. And large, large. Big or butch, big. You can see how important facial expressions are with sign language. You don't always have a lip pattern, but sometimes a facial expression comes in place of that. So let's do this again. We'll do height and size again. So tall, and short, and average, then thin, and slim, and large, and big or butch, okay. So we've learned how to describe whether the person is male, female, boy, girl, old and young. And we have learned how to describe the height and size of a person. Now we will talk about hair color and hair. So hair, hair, hair is long, long, or short, short. Then we have medium length, medium length, or straight hair, straight hair, and curly, curly hair. And wavy hair, wavy hair, it might be short and straight, or it might be short and curly. So if it's curly and short, then it's up here, or straight and short. Or bald, bald, okay, so I will repeat those again in relation to hair. and then we'll talk about hair color. So again, first time with voiceover, second and third on your own. So hair, long, and short, medium length, bald, and then straight hair, and if it's short and straight, then it's like this. And curly, curly. And if it's short, curly hair, then the sign curly is up towards the top of the head. And wavy, okay, so now let's move on to the hair color. So black hair, black, and then, okay, this is the sign for how we make the sign for blonde. So it's your middle fingers sort of clicking together and then moving down towards the back of your head. So that's blonde, blonde, blonde. And white, white. So again, it's the same kind of movement, only outwards from the chest. And brown, brown, and grey, grey. Or red, red, ginger, ginger, trying to think of perhaps any other hair colours that you might want to know. I think that's probably most of them. If there's anything else, please just use the chat box with any other colours you want to know. Let's do those again. So black, white, brown, blonde, and red, ginger, and grey. So we've covered describing a person, who they are. Then we have learned how to describe the size, the height of a person. We've talked about their hair, long, short, bald, what colour their hair is. And now let's move on to eyes. So eyes, just pointing to your eyes. Glasses. So that's the sign for glasses. Now let's describe the colour of the eyes. Maybe black, black, or brown, or blue, 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 and green, green. Okay, that's probably all the colours of the eyes. Now we will describe the person's face. So that's pretty, pretty, beautiful, beautiful, handsome, handsome. Okay, so I will run over the eye colour again and what the person looks like. So again, eyes, glasses, now eye colour. So black, and brown, blue, and green, green. And pretty. Beautiful. Handsome. Now we'll just do a few family signs so that you can perhaps describe a member of your family. So again, that was mother, father, brother, sister, friend, children, grandchildren. So we'll go over those again. So we've got mother or mum, father or dad, brother, sister, husband or wife, just the different lip pattern, partner, children, grandchildren, and friend. So here's the question. Your mum, describe her. In BSL, you probably know that the word order is different. So we talk about the person first and then describe the person afterwards. So it's your friend. Describe him. Okay, so with no voiceover, just watch me and see if you can follow along. Okay, so that was how we asked the question. So when you describe a person, you're always pointing to an imaginary space. For example, my wife. So my wife over here. So you're pointing to imaginary space. You can say what her name is. So that's her. That's where you're setting her up and referencing her. And you can fingerspell her name. If you're not sure how to fingerspell, you can Google, type into Google BSL alphabet. And there are plenty of pictures and plenty of resources there. Make sure though that you do type in British Sign Language because there are different sign languages for all the different countries in the world. So make sure that you're finding the British Sign Language alphabet. So if we're describing our wife, then it's pointing to there, then name, then point back again to where you've set her up. Is she tall, short, medium height? Is she thin, slim, large, big? Again, you're pointing back to where she is. Hair color, describe that. What color are her eyes? So always in BSL, we're pointing to the person was first of all point to what it is you're talking about, like hair, and then you describe it. In English, you would say she has long hair or she has long black hair. That's the English structure. But in BSL, first of all, reference the person, where the person is, and then what's the topic? The topic is hair we're talking about. So then describe the hair. Is it long? Is it black? That's how BSL works. So topic comes first, and then description or comment comes afterwards. I know it's quite complex. It's very different structure. Every language has its own structure. French has its own grammatical structure, as does Spanish and German. So every language has its own grammar and syntax. And BSL is, we have our own rules for BSL as well. And Kellyanne's just saying that she practices her finger spelling of names, which is brilliant. So I'm going to describe my family now. First time I'll do it with a voiceover, and then the second time without a voiceover, and see if you can follow along. So I have a wife. Her name is Christina. She's tall. She's slim. Her hair is fairly long and straight and blonde. Her eyes are blue. She's beautiful. And we have 3 children. Our first son is called Patrick. And Patrick is 10. He's tall, thin. His hair is short, quite wavy and blonde. He has lots of freckles. His eyes are blue. He's very handsome. Our second son is called Charlie. Charlie is aged 8. He's average height. His hair is short and wavy and very blonde. His eyes are blue and he's thin and handsome. And our daughter is called Kate. And Kate is 6. She's average height. Well, maybe quite small, but probably average for a 6-year-old. Her hair is growing and curly and blonde. She's thin. Her eyes, she has a blue eye and a green eye. So that's interesting. She's 2 different colored eyes. She is beautiful. Okay, so let's see if you can follow along this time and pick up what I'm signing without a voiceover. Okay, so that's describing my family. Hopefully everyone enjoyed learning how to describe a person in VSL. Oh, thank you for your lovely comment, Joan. That's very kind. Joan saying family are all beautiful. I think that's us for today. I think that's probably enough. If you forget anything that we've learned today, you can always go back and repeat the session through Facebook. The Royal Voluntary Service, it's on their Facebook page, and also it's on YouTube, so you can go back as many times as you want and keep learning, keep practicing, keep repeating the signs. I want to say thank you all for joining us today and giving up your time to learn sign language, and hopefully you really enjoyed our session and our BSL class. I want to thank the Royal Voluntary Service as always for giving me this opportunity to teach sign language to anyone watching in the UK. Thank you, Irene, for joining us as well. And thank you also to the interpreter. I hope everyone has a fabulous weekend and see you all next time. Take care. Bye, everyone.